Hello, reader. Thank you for joining. This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast. On this podcast, we will be discussing with fellow readers and authors. You will never lack for good conversations and recommendations of Christian books. If you're a lover of literary works, fiction and non-fiction, then you have made the right stop here. Thank you for joining us again.
Vonnetta Mayo was born in Gary, Indiana, raised in Southern California, and now resides in Florida. The youngest of 4 children, she aspired to become a writer at an early age, writing poems for church conventions and winning an essay contest for a college scholarship. She minored in literature and writing at the University of California, San Diego. Vonnetta loves God and attributes her inspiration for writing to God. She was raised in the church and believes in pursuing and never giving up in her dreams. Proud author of the Joy and Sorrow trilogy and a memoir titled Charlene Marshall, My Extraordinary Odyssey. Readers' favorite 5-star review recipient and Literary Titan Gold Book Award winner Vonnetta Mayo thanks God for making her dream of becoming an author come true.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Christian Readers Community. I'm so excited to be back, and I have an amazing lady that, the first time I saw her name, I was like, okay, how do you pronounce this? I hope I don't get to embarrass myself when I get to start this interview with her. And, I got this pronunciation correctly. So, without wasting much time, let me go ahead and introduce to you Vonnetta Mayo. Welcome to the show, Vonnetta.
Yes, I'm doing great. And yes, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, really. It was just your surname that I wanted to know if it's pronounced Mayo or Mayo.
Oh, Mayo, like mayonnaise.
Anyway, thank you so much for that, for telling me the proper pronunciation. You're welcome to this show. It's a privilege to have you, really, and I'm glad you're doing this with me.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate being on the Christian podcast.
Okay, so we'll first start by hearing from you. So tell us a little about yourself and your journey into writing.
Yes, again, thank you for having me. Yes, again, my name is Vonnetta Mayo, and I started my writing journey about 30 years ago. Actually, I was a senior in high school, so kind of telling my age a little bit. And I always had an interest in writing, and I actually started in church writing poetry for different church events. And then I decided one day, let me try to write a story. So I wrote a story, like I said, when I was a senior in high school, and then just wrote it just for fun. And then when I went to college and minored in literature and writing, I still had that story with me. So I rewrote it actually for my final grade in my class, and received an A on the paper, and my teacher even wrote on there. Yes, good. But my professor even wrote on the paper, good luck with getting it published. So I finished college and everything, and then life, took me on a different journey, So I put that manuscript on the shelf. I didn't get it published at that time because I began working and just living life. And then actually 2021, I still had that manuscript. During the pandemic, I was in between jobs. I had left one job and waiting on another. And something told me, which I know was God, said, pull out that manuscript off that shelf. So I pulled that manuscript off that I've been having all this time and began rewriting and retyping, changing some things. And I finally submitted it to publishers. And I received approval from all the publishers. And I chose Fulton Books as my first publisher. And I got my manuscript published. So I was very happy about that. And the book is Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow. And as that one was getting published, I decided to make it into a series. So I wrote the second one, Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow, Homecoming. And that began my series. So got that one published with Christian Faith Publishing. And just actually a few months ago, got the third book. So it's a trilogy, got the third book published with Gatekeepers Publishing. So now I have a trilogy, Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow. So that's a little about my writing journey and how it all began 30 years ago when I was a senior in high school, and God made a way for me during the pandemic to start my writing career and get my first book published. And then I went on from there and get the other two published after that.
Wow, that's a long journey, 30 years. And, seeing that once you got the first one out, the other two were quite smooth, or should I say, became easier for you to publish on the heels of each other. Like, that's really, really, really wonderful. And let's talk about the break you had from the first time you wrote your first manuscript to when you published it 30 years later. How was it like for you? Were there times when you wished, oh, should I go back to writing? Or, or was it just a time of your life and you were like, no, I never missed writing. What was it like for you?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah, so during the whole 30 years, that 30-year period, it stayed in the back of my mind. I always like, one day, I'm just going to take out time and sit here and rewrite this manuscript and send it in to a publisher. And for one publisher, Page Publishing, I actually had sent for the information about how to, get your book published and everything, received it and just never got to it. So that was one step I had took before I decided to get it published. So I was doing little steps, but I always would get sidetracked and distracted with life. So like I said, I had submitted, asked Page Publishing and, to send me some information just about to get it publishing because I had no idea what the first step was. So that kind of helped me. I read over that, but then I put that packet, okay, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to, get it published and then, get busy with life. But it always stayed in the back of my mind. Like one day I'm going to get this book published. And at that time, I had no plans of doing a trilogy or a series, but just going online, researching information about series and, starting a book series and just jumping in different webinars and web access. I just found out more information, as I went on. So during that 30 period, I guess to sum it up, I was doing research and I was reaching out to publishers to send me information on how to get the book published. I just didn't execute it. So I was doing a whole lot of research. So when it was time to get it published, I was like, okay, I'm ready, So, like I tell people, 30 years is a long time. That may not be everybody's journey, but it was just my journey. But in that 30 years, you can't prepare yourself. So you can't make use of your time. So.
And like I said earlier, 30 years is a long time. I'm going to be 30 this year. So... So it's actually wonderful. As you said, you started writing long before I was born.
Yes, don't make me sound so old now. Yes. But it is the truth, 30 years, I started, I had a nice, 17 years on you to be exact. Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, what does it feel like returning back to the writing world? It wasn't like you really left because, in as much as you weren't writing, you were researching, going for writers' conference and, keeping your knife sharpened. But what does it feel like to return in full? You were saying one day I'll get published, one day. So how does it feel like to see that day, come to pass?
It felt excellent. It's like having a dream. It was a dream and a goal of mine, and I never let up. I didn't know when it was going to happen or how it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. So that goes with having faith. I can't see my way through it, but I have faith, in God. I'm like, I know, especially with the title, I know God gave me that title, Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow. And the genre is religion and historical fiction. So I knew, that was a God-given title. So I knew and I had faith that one day it was going to happen. I just didn't know how. So to finally see it unfold and get that first book out, it was just unimaginable. Just nothing I could have really, like I said, I saw it happening, but I couldn't see how. So when it happened, it's like, wow, just unimaginable. I never saw how it was going to actually happen. So it was a great feeling. And that motivated me to get the second and the third one, written and published as well. So it's extraordinary. You know, so I thank God for making my dream being an author come true.
Let's talk about your books. First, tell us about your debut novel and what's all about. And should I also ask you to? No. Okay, just tell us about the first one. Then anyone who's curious enough can, go check it out and, check out the second and third book in the trilogy.
It is a trilogy, so it's for ages 12 and up. Because it's a young girl, she's 11 years old, and she's telling her story about her family experience as slaves on a plantation in the South and how they persevered by holding on to their faith. So the genre is religion and historical fiction. Yes, so it's very encouraging, and it's also entertaining, and it's also educational. So it's perfect for the times to keep, African American history around and know our background and where we come from. But it also can relate to today's life, day-to-day life, just staying encouraged, not giving up, having faith and hope for a better tomorrow to come. So that's pretty much what the whole entire series is about, is having faith and not giving up. And you just, we're just waiting on a better tomorrow to come.
I love historical fiction. Is it set before the Civil War?
Yeah, so it was during slavery, so yes. So yes, it was. So
I love it.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I love books set before the Civil War and during the Civil War. Like, it's been very, very interesting reading books like that because you get to learn a lot. Wow, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful and very, very interesting. And I hope that everyone who enjoys reading historical fiction will get this book. Wow, this is awesome. I love it. So in book 2, do we see her still the same age or is she grown up?
Yeah, so in book 2, she's grown up about 5, about 5 years in past. She's grown up, so she's getting a little mature. They're still on the plantation, and they're just steady praying. They're holding on to their faith and hoping that one day they will be free. So that's where they're at with book 2. So that's why it's entitled Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow, Homecoming. So they're just praying and hoping, that, with the 5 year that passed, that they get closer to home. So, yes, so they're just growing. And it's good to see it coming from the story being narrated from a child's perspective, because a lot of times you hear about slavery, you just hear about what the adults went through, but you never hear about what the children went through and what they saw and what they heard. Yes,
because all the books I've read prior to the Civil War is usually narrated by adults or teenagers, but hearing that this one is told from a child's perspective is really intriguing, and I'd love to get my hands on this one as soon as possible.
Yes, most definitely, yes. Please do. It is a very short read, just to keep people attention and reading the book. So it's very it's a nice, short, but profound read. So you can read it all in one sitting if you can, and that's how I wanted to make it, especially when your audience, your target audience is from children on up to adults. You want to keep the children attention span, so you don't want to make it too long. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm not going to ask you about the third book in the series. I'm not going to ask you because I'd like anyone who is interested enough to go get a copy. And if you'd like to know what happened in book 3, if this child's hope was, eventually, of course, we know the time of slavery, that ended back during the Civil War. That's 1863. That was when Abraham Lincoln made the Emancipation Declaration, right? So, So, But for this book, I do not know how it ended. I don't know if it got to the Civil War or if it finally, or if it was, after the Civil War, if it was post-Civil War era. And I would really love to know. And because I like suspense, so I'm not going to ask you about the third book, so that when I want to read it, I'll be able to, enjoy the first to the third book. Thank you for, discussing about your book. Really, really intriguing. What's next for you? As should we expect something new, or is this the end of the road as a writer?
Well, it's always something new. No, it took me too long to get here, Faith. So it took me 30 years. It's not the end yet. I got to at least put in some more years, right? It took too long to get here to quit now, right? So no, so I am working on I do have a fourth book out there. That's my series. So I do have a fourth book out there about a former mayor of West Virginia, and how she made history, by becoming the first African-American woman mayor in the state of West Virginia. So that is nonfiction. So I have done nonfiction work before, so I do have that book. So right now I'm working on another nonfiction book right now from a lady. I just leave it at those little details. So I am working on some nonfiction work. So I don't want to give too much details about that right now until it really start unfolding. And I do working on a script, not written by me, but written by a screenwriter for my trilogy, for my Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow trilogy. A screenwriter has wrote a script for, so with that, I'm looking to try to get that produced into a TV series and or a movie. So that is something new. So I haven't told anybody about that yet, but now it's out. And so that's in the works as well. So God willing, when it's time for that to happen, hopefully one day you'll see Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow on the big screen.
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to hear this. This is exciting news, really. Wow. And I really, personally, of course, towards the end of this interview, I'll be asking you to release your information, for those who would like to stay in touch, to see when that one would be out. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited, really. And, personally, I'll definitely, stay in touch to see, when this book will be turned into a movie. So if someone picks up this book, any of the book in the trilogy or the entire books, what are they going to get from it?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that question, because when I go to book signings or book fairs or book festivals or whatever event it may be, I always tell people, because there's a different message. What God told me, there's a different message in my book for each person. Every person may not receive the message. So every time I sign a book and give the book to someone, autograph the book, I tell them, receive the message that God has for you to get out of my book, because I believe everybody that buys my book, there's a reason for it, and God has a message for them. So I can't say specifically what the message is. I just tell them, get out the message of whatever God has for you in my book. So
it's just like you're leaving them to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, because everybody go through different things at different times. Yeah. Let God speak to you while you're reading the book, because it's more than about slavery. It's the foundation is religion, so it's more in there than about the history. History is great, but it's more in there to speak to you that you can get out of my book.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking all the time to do this. Do you have a copy of your book with you?
Yes.
Okay. Would like to hear an excerpt from your first book.
While you read this book, I pray that God opens your mind, gives you understanding and clarity, that you can enjoy this book in its entirety. I know this book will exhilarate your spirit. Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow is an inspiring book that everyone can enjoy. Chapter 3, The Power of Prayer. It was getting late. My brothers and I were getting sleepy now. It seemed like it was way past our normal time that we usually lay down. My mother and her 3 friends looked exhausted. They did not have much time to sleep before they had to be back up in the morning. My mother knew everyone was getting sleepy. She said, "Before we all close our eyes to rest, let us pray." We all began to whisper, "O Lord, Father in heaven, we come to you for freedom. Either free us from being slaves or take us to your wonderful kingdom. Just get us away from our evil master Tevin. For we worship and adore you. We know that you are the only one who can free us. So we're not going to complain and fuss because we know one day we are going to see you. So we're going to keep waiting until that victorious and glorious day comes. We're not going to sneak away from slavery and run. We're just going to keep praying. While we're believing and trusting in you, we're still going to have joy and sorrow, and that's going to give us hope for tomorrow, because we know soon comes our breakthrough. Lord, we love you. Amen." The next morning when my mother and her 3 friends woke up, they seemed to be a little more energetic than usual. Maybe the prayer last night encouraged them. My brothers and I were excited and ready to go play in the muddy water. Staying in the shed today was not an option. It was too boring.
Wow. What a moving story. And, it's very, very interesting seeing that the story is told by an 11-year-old. So
Yeah.
who are your audience for this book? Is it only for kids, or can, an adult pick up this book?
It's for kids on up to adults. So adolescents, I used to tell people adolescent on up to adults, because I get a lot of adults that don't have children that buy this book. So yes, it's for ages 12 and up. Yes.
Wow, so it's fair enough to say that it's for all ages then.
Exactly. Yes.
For everyone who enjoys historical fiction.
Yes. It's a fiction, even though it's a fictional story, fictional characters, the history is there. So it definitely teaches you a little about African American history.
History, yeah. Wow, yes. Thank you. Vonnetta, thank you so much for sharing with us. So how can people reach you?
Yes, they can reach me on my website at VonnettaMayoBooks.com. So that's my first and last name together, books, all one word together, .com. Or they can reach me on my author Vonnetta Mayo Facebook page and my Amazon author page at author Vonnetta Mayo.
Okay. So when they go to your website, they would also be able to subscribe to your newsletter, right?
Yes, they will. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vonnetta. Thank you. I'm always, being careful whenever I pronounce your name, to avoid mispronunciation. Anywho, thank you for taking out the time to do this for me. I enjoyed my conversation with you, and I hope that when I invite you next time, you'd be willing to come again.
Yes, most definitely. I enjoyed my time with you, and I thank you again for having me, and I definitely will come anytime that you invite me.
Thank you. And listeners, thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, go get a copy of this book, Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow. Very beautiful title, really. So I hope that when you pick it up, just like the author likes to say, we hope that the book ministers to your heart, that you get the message that God is trying to give you when you pick up this book. Of course, there's history in it, but the important message above all is the message of the gospel of Christ. And this is what Vonnetta is always happy to pass across to everyone, all her readers, and of course, entertain you with good stories. Thank you everyone for doing this with me. Until I come your way again next time, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed, and bye bye everyone.